Greetings everyone, my name is Netherville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Mega Man Maker. On tonight's Sometime Evening Maker streams, I'll be covering the level pack Mega Man Paradox Gem by Tedley11. Funny enough, the last level pack I played was also by Tedley11, and that's the one I did before going on a break. It's episode 799 if I recall correctly. So it's sort of like a sequel to that pack. We got 8 RMs and 6 Fortress stages. But first, let's start with the story. 2 years after the events of Hermione's attack... do you actually want to see what I'm looking up? For that perspective, and so I can follow along? I think that may be a better bet. There you go, now you can actually see the story that's going on. Alright, read before playing. 2 years after Hermione's attack. Log 569. It is I, Dr. Light. I'm logging from my vacation with auto-enroll. We tried to convince Mega Man to come along, but Hermione and Bastion were working on some new device that uses the energy elements, and he wanted to stay and help. I hope these three finish the project and it won't cause some sort of robot uprising. I mean, what are the odds of that happening? Mega Man, Hermione, and Bastion were working on a device called the Energy Crown, which can harness and use the energy of the energy element's energy to power machines with energy. But after their latest test, 8 familiar figures attack the lab and steal the crown in a field of smoke. Wait a moment, I recognize some of those attackers, like Typhoon Man and Baby Jump. They clearly had a goal. They stole the Energy Crown. They look like projections or energy copies of the originals. Something is going on here, Mega Man. You'll get the new copy soon. Mega Man, with Hermione and Bastion's help, updates his armor in Mega Buster, and one of the upgrades is his ability to defeat strange energy creatures. Mega Man sets out on an adventure to stop the mysterious Matern. Meanwhile, in a clearing, a mysterious figure watches from his hidden base using a monitor to view Mega Man and the level lab, and he laughs. Sheesh, they leveled the lab. That's worse than what happened in W. Step 1 of my master plan is complete, and he has done all the hard work for me. As he laughs, the new castle he built rises from the ground to the sky, creating a system of sky islands. And so the adventure begins. So, the Paradox Masters are Lucy, Honeykitten, Stara, Cheeto, Typhoon Man with an E, Rebound Man, Baby Jump, and Penny. All the bosses in this pack are bosses from previous level packs by Tedley. So let's roll the die. I am going after... what? Excuse me, let's try it again, shall we? Let's re-roll the die. Okay, I think they provided the wrong ID for that one. Let's begin by going after Rebound Man. Flotation Funhouse. 47 plays, score 21. I mean, in W the lab was attacked directly and it showed. I do appreciate that the lab damage actually persisted into the shop screen too. So, nice continuity there. Here we go, intro screen, and some of the main gimmicks we'll be encountering. The soccer ball, or sports ball, as well as the bouncy balls. It's like having an intro screen. Most level packs don't do that, so snazzy. Already showing more effort. I mean, the last level pack I played by Tedley was a lot better than I expected it to be. Like from most of Tedley's previous packs before the one I covered in 799 were kind of lackluster, to be honest, but that one surprised me with how enjoyable that ended up being. Bounce Man called. Yeah, looks like I'll need the pile driver or something. Can you bounce? Yes. Yeah, I need the pile driver, sorry. Imagine if they could indefinitely split. I have to collect the 4 blue keys in order to grab the extra 2E tanks. It's not that you can transfer them in between stages. I know, I should have been... I know. I will make also one point. I should have posted the last episode of I should have released the edited version of W's last episode from my stream. Long story short, Steam Next Fest and other things happened, so that's why I wasn't able to get around to it yet. Hopefully I'll be able to do it this week. And then, with the way things are going, I think I'll stream my playthrough of Endless Attack and especially roguelike mode. That seems like a fun idea. Yeah, I know. A lot of things came out around the same time, so... And I'm kind of falling behind in terms of editing videos. Like, I need to get all the Let's Tries... I need to get the Let's Tries for the Next Fest stuff done, followed by W and recording the W stuff. Recording/streaming. Ooh, 2 routes. Ow. Where are we going? Down. Wonderful. I suspect that would be the key. Will do. Let's see, I have to update this Steam Next Fest. I have to post the edited version of Steam Next Fest demos, record the one that I'm missing. Same with W about the last episode, and recording footage for the last Let's Try. Recording footage for the bonus modes. And, oh yeah, and of course the challenge modes, can't forget about those. The 100 challenges. Not to mention, post the edited Let's Tries of the previous Mega Man games that fan games have showcased. One of them is, I know one major one, Heavenfall, hasn't had its episode released yet. Even though it really should have by this point. It's like 4 months in storage, the footage. It's kind of embarrassing. And then of course there's Portaman's Adventure, which I don't think I've actually fully posted yet, have I? Not Portaman's Adventure, the one after that. Oh gosh. Well, I didn't even... That's just the start. There's also all the previous Let's Plays I've done, whose footage is still lying in storage, and that's like 100 different episodes worth by this point. Like, there's at least multiple days worth of footage to comb through. And some games require a lot more cutting than others. For example, games where I die repeatedly or get lost, or have much more backtracking than was expected. Color me surprised. I thought the level would have ended with that last horizontal section. That seemed like the climactic section, but apparently I got one more. I say climactic section because it involved both types of ring platforms and the bouncy balls. And most of the major enemies, I guess. Like, even if this is kind of rough at times, at least it is trying to use all of its main gimmicks and mechanics to a sufficient degree. Like, unlike many of most other level packs, this is at least trying to get the full arsenal, or aiming for whatever's equivalent of to a sufficient degree. Like, we could have ended the last section, be fine. Maybe it would have worked better that way. Anyway. So, props are at least... I don't know if this is the best way I would have the climactic section, but it certainly tries to bring back everything and wrap it up in a bow, so already it's ahead of 90% of the packs. Go, go! Gotcha. I faced the wrong direction. I got Rebound Striker. Better version. I think all the levels of the previous pack were long enough, but at least these levels have some meat and actual teeth to them, because I had to pay attention to these spots and not just get bounced into spikes, so props for that too. I know I'm kind of criticizing a lot of other level packs, but in addition to the issues with the climactic sections, many of the levels I've seen, they don't force the player to really pay attention to what's going on. You can like breeze through them especially as an intermediate or expert player. Especially during the ARM levels. It only starts to change in the Fortress. This is not one of them. From the get-go, it's forcing me to pay some attention to what's happening. Okay, next up is Typhoon Man and Typhoon Tower. Oh yeah, there's a typo in the story description, Tedley. The level ID provided there is 581. This one's 591 actually. 49 plays and a score of 18. I'm gonna be reviewing the levels as a group, not so much individually, unless something really stands out, just as an FYI. Rebound Burst. Not the best weapon in the group, but it's gonna come in handy. Hello, patio. Wait, can I actually make that jump? Afraid not. Well, we'll see about that. Brush crawfish, my beloved crayfish. Wind gimmicks and yokus. Thanks. Not that I really need it. Where will I take the first point of damage? Place your bets, folks. Well, not so much where, but by what cause. Is it gonna be by enemy? Spikes? Hazard? Whoa, Ah, okay, missiles. Luckily, I have my trusty bouncy ball. Oh, that's a decent place to take damage. Yeah, eventually it's gonna happen. At least for the first time it's combined together, we didn't have an enemy right in the middle. May want to put a dangerous sign to indicate you may want to wait. I saw that earlier, Jaden. That's wonderful. Now I get an egg to the face, no yolk though. Another egg to the face. Yeah, I like the makeshift mid-boss team. It sort of works what they're trying to do. Hmm. This looks like a job for a dog. Oh gosh. Time to jumps. Get another egg to the face. Oh my... What? You say this is the hardest stage to 8. For my skill level, it isn't really that bad. I love the Yuka block clips that are available in Maker. Like how they almost always shove, you upwards as long as there's just one. It makes these sections a lot more, not necessarily cheesable, but more speedrunnable. I get why this is considered like the final climactic section, but compared with the bounce stage, this is kind of lame. But if you're not careful, the punishment for missing a jump is more painful. No. That is a little bit tricky. Ah, just off by 1. There we go. You just have to extend your wait time there. Tricky, but I think I like the last section of Typhoon more. The last and second to last, I'd say. Alright, it's Burst Man in this arena. Oh no, he gets knocked back by the charge shot. And I got pulled in, whoops. Okay. I'm sorry, Jaden. I don't own Tabletop Sim and I'm not really interested right now. I'm way too busy with other things. I didn't know that W has some NSF files. That's good. I consider myself to be more than an intermediate skill player. I just keep referring to intermediate skill players as that's closest to quote-unquote average. Although the actual average is probably lower than that. Like, the way this level is designed, it does feel like it would fit for the intermediate skilled player. Like, it's not to the point where I'd say it's an expert player. Like, I would rate myself as somewhere between intermediate and expert in terms of skill level. Yeah, I suspect as much. The internal engine probably uses OGG files. Ah, I'm smashed. Okay. I need to stand back further. Well, it's apparently a short update that acts as a connection to Elusis, and it gives a really powerful power-up. Okay, if I stand back, it also works. See? Perfect. No harm, no foul. And Mega Man gets a free ride, too. First man using the terrain to his advantage. Okay, I like this arena. I got... Typhoon first. That's not how you spell Typhoon, but sure. It uses regular audio files like OGG. To have an NSF file release, you'd have to export you would have to have every musician export every song as an NSF. So yeah, that could be difficult. For these sorts of level packs, the first person you want to target is probably yourself. Like, you're making the level pack for Mega Man Maker. You're in a subset of a subset of a subset of the fandom by this point. The main fandom being Mega Man, sub-fandom Mega Man Classic, sub-fandom Mega Man Classic fan games, sub-fandom Mega Man Classic Mega Man Maker fans. Probably even further, Mega Man Maker fan level creators. So you're like 4 or 5 levels deep right now, and I've lost track of the exact numbers. Okay, 2 down. Oh yeah, we got some story. Hang on. After defeating his first, and technically second, Paradox Master, Mega Man returns back to the rebuilt Light Labs to refuel and regroup, and he says that Bastion's theory that those are familiar faces... okay, this needs some reworking. Hang on. After defeating his first Paradox Master, Mega Man returns back to the rebuilt Light Labs to refuel and regroup. And he says that Bastion's theory that those familiar faces were projections was completely true, as the one he defeated glitched out and vanished. Bastion affirms that if they eliminate these remaining 7 projections, they should be able to find where the Energy Crown was taken. Gotcha. And to re-roll the die, who's up next? Penny at the Ethereal Dojo. 50 plays, score 19. Yeah, I was off by 1. Alright, let's do this. I'm hoping to get the Rush Jet, but we'll see. Only one dose yet. Ooh, wait. Nope. Nice. Well, if you're about to fall asleep, then no. Even if I did, I already talked almost everything I want to talk about the demos so far and what I think overall what this next fest was. Like, tomorrow I'm going to be posting one of the Let's Tries I did on my own time, and also I technically co-streamed with someone else. So you'll be able to find that out soon. Those are the demos that I played that weren't directly requested by you viewers or the 3 primary picks. I picked them because they looked interesting and they're based on a random smattering of things I go over per showcase. Also, the second important point is that, oh no. Hang on, I need to repeat that because the connection went bad. One moment. Okay, it's supposedly stabilized the network a bit now. Intendity's sake, they've said I've been having issues since the start of the stream, but I've only really noticed the issue now, so apologies for that. Alright, let's continue. As I wanted to say, in regards to the Steam Next Fest stuff, I want to make something clear. Tomorrow I'm going to be releasing the video of one of the demos I did, which is sort of cooperatively. Tedley, earlier it wasn't no, it's fine, Tedley. Earlier on it was mostly your issue. It only became an issue in the last few minutes for everybody. There is probably a key up there. As for the Steam Next Fest in general, as for this Steam Next Fest demo showcase, they had 3 primary picks, they all came out fairly well. I want to make something clear, I have a combination of general picks and things I take from seeing other people, what they're doing. And so far it's been relatively good. I think it's... okay, that's been more of a common issue. Yeah, unfortunately this is one of those days where it's, internet's acting up. If it becomes a problem again, please let me know. Usually it behaves, but... well... Okay, let me just finish my thought on the Steam Next Fest demos before I get interrupted again. As for this particular Steam Next Fest, it was kind of... it wasn't as good as the previous one, but I wouldn't say it's bad. There's still a bunch of demos which are fun to cover. Like, the problem was, unlike the last time it was like I had to subdivide between 50 potential demo candidates. This time it's more like 20 to 30. Closer to 20. There's a key. Which is to say, I'm gonna say 20 or 30, I mean 20 or 30 that fit the channel and what I'm looking for. I'm not just saying there was only 20 to 30 good demos that were interesting. There was much more than that. Oh, golly. How am I gonna do this? I guess I have to shoot that forwards, don't I? Yeah. I see it. Got it. Actually, that's clever. I built up the staircase this way. That's tall enough. I like that. When are the rest of the videos for Mega Man gonna come out? Once I finish the Next Fest demo showcases, the edited version of that, I will return to, well, the order is going to be Next Fest demo showcases that are remaining, followed by Mega Man W's last part for the main playthrough, then more Mega Man stuff. Like, I do want to at least publish the playthroughs of 5 and 6 over July, and as well as 7. That's not intentional. I thought that was actually the intended strat with how we were building up. See, with the way you're building up the level, I thought this is going to be like the final challenge of the punch blocks and push blocks, where you have throughout the stage you have to push these blocks forwards by using the charge shot. So that seemed like the logical final exam of that. That's fair, Jaden. I'm not going to be releasing the videos in the same order I recorded them, though. It's going to be changed up a bit. And Dusk's Fade's video is going to be separated into 2 parts. I'm sorry, I don't want to post a 90-minute video. I'm sorry, I don't want to post a 2-hour video. Okay, the springs actually made this fight easier for me. It's meant to... You're supposed to Kaiser jump off the So you're telling me I had to Kaiser jump off the platform? Yeah, no. With the way the stage is building up in terms of difficulty and gimmicks, it's more logical to have to shoot the platforms to the right. Having the Kaiser jump off of it is not a good that would be a significant difficulty spike and wouldn't fit for the rest of the level. So I'll ignore that. Like, if that was the only way, I would disagree with that. I would criticize it, but the more logical way is to push the blocks forwards. Next up is Baby Jump at Thunderstorm Terminal. 65 plays, score of 17. I don't know, in terms of the story and visuals, I could see Cage-like, but the more I played it, the more it didn't really feel like, it didn't hit the same sort of thing that Cage goes for. I don't know if I call it like Jak and Daxter either, because Jak and Daxter featured more involved platforming, and that was a collectathon. Whereas Dusk Fade isn't really a collectathon. There are collectibles, sure, but they're not as there's not as a heavy focus on collectibles as Jak. I'm referring to Jak 1 specifically, not 2 and 3. Oh my goodness. Like, shoot. Like, it was described in a few places to be sort of like a Kingdom Hearts-like. I don't know if the devs use that terminology, but I've seen it it's thrown about. Like, it's a cool third-person 3D action-adventure game, and I like it. It reminds me of the PS2 era, of course, but it's kind of like the generic... It's kind of like... I don't want to say generic because the cloudy and enemy designs are distinct enough to the point where it's not generic. It feels... excuse me. It feels like a somewhat generic... well, not really generic. It's like a high-budget attempt at a PS2-styled third-person action-adventure game. Not really generic because the character designs are distinct enough, but... It hasn't really carved it hasn't carved itself out for it. Geno Kids, absolutely. Homer Hime, that's unintentional. Because Homer Hime is aping from the character action games and anime fighters. And one of the shared DNA elements of character action games and I guess the Cage action RPG is the combo systems and the depths and moves. Dusk Fade doesn't really have that. So yeah, I still played the game, it was very fun. But calling it a Cage-like is a misnomer. If you even want to call it that. I feel strange calling more and more titles Title A-like. I know I call it like... oh gosh. So this is how we're gonna do this. I don't know how to feel about calling more and more titles, like Title A or Title B like. I know there's stuff like roguelikes and stuff, but if I were to name, or roguelike or Souls-like, but if I had the ability to name genres, I probably wouldn't use that sort of terminology. Especially stuff like roguelike, which more and more over time actually is less descriptive of what it actually is used for. Really, roguelikes nowadays should be called like a procedural death labyrinth or something, or procedural death game. And then we get the whole thing about roguelite versus roguelike, which I won't go into during the stream. At least with Souls-likes, you have a roughly good idea of what the game will play like. With roguelikes now, there's just too much variety and it needs to be paired with something else. But enough of that. Back to the level itself. Oh man, if only I had the Astro Crush. I just call it Procedural Death Labyrinth. I think a more accurate title would be Procedural Death Game. Because focus on procedural generation and live, die, and repeat pattern. Oh. Ooh. It's one thing to call a game like, it's another thing to call it whatever slop. I don't like that terminology, to be fair. I know there's a quote-unquote friend slop, but even faster than some of the other genres, it's been very kind of vague of what it actually describes. Whoops. My jump didn't execute properly. It kind of feels like a slap to the face for using the terminology like whatever slop. Don't get me wrong, many of those games that could be quote-unquote considered or bandied with the term friend slop, they aren't really that high quality. Or they're low effort-ish. Still, I would use other terminology. I don't like the bandying the term whatever slop. Okay, maybe call the game shovel. Like, we had a term before called shovelware. I guess you can also use slop, but I'd rather use the term slop for things that are just bandied about and released on a super regular basis that isn't conducive to quality. Like before the whole ongoing generative AI apocalypse, we had all those quote-unquote kids YouTube channels that just released a fire hose of what seemed to be randomly generated content of famous IPs and their characters in random situations. So yeah. Plain slop. That's even less descriptive of shoot 'em up, it's hilarious. At least aura is less demeaning. And right now aura seems to be mostly used for someone being cool. Like aura farming. I'm more okay with that. I'm more okay with terms being used more as a positive than demeaning. Yeah, we call that shovelware. Unfortunately, it's much easier to create right nowadays, I just save the term slop for mainly AI-generated content. If I feel someone didn't put enough effort into the work and it shows, I'll just call the work subpar or bad or shovelware. You got. Well, yeah, I was trying not to use the term Jaden, but Elsagate was a descriptor of some of the more wacky channels. I'm saying it in a nice way. I should really say the disturbing channels that deliberately targeted YouTube kids when their content was decidedly not for kids. I want to make a clear distinction between channels that were specifically targeted towards adults and had more general audience-friendly IPs versus specific channels that were targeting a younger audience while having disturbing content. I got Stormblade. So, of the stages so far, this is the most but it holds up. Fifth up is Honey Kitten at the Honeycomb HQ, 46 plays, score 23. But that's just my disorganized rambling on genre naming. We can also go into the whole discussion about how many of the genre names aren't really descriptive and kind of bad. And really, these genre descriptors are more at their core, more like shared terminology that gamers have decided to agree on. Enough of them. But that's the time for a whole other discussion. That's going to be a whole discussion about how language evolves and what we decide on. You were playing Battle of Garega Voltings. And one of the kids there questioned why you play shmups when they're all quote-unquote, all basically Galaga with different graphics. Oh my gosh. I don't really play that many shmups and I'm just laughing at how woefully misinformed that statement they gave was. But I can understand where that also comes from if your reference pool of video games is very shallow. Like, if you were to ask me, like, if you were to ask me, for example, to name a bunch of movies from different genres, I'd have a much tougher experience due to my shallow reference pools. It'd be like saying that. It'd be like, excuse me. It'd be like seeing let me put it this way. It'd be like telling someone, why are you watching this quote-unquote sci-fi series when they're all basically Star Wars or Star Trek with different graphics. Like, you can see how woefully misinformed that statement would be. Oh my god. I mean, that makes it even funnier considering that they're playing another game which has a heavy presence and history in the arcade era and arcades in general. Like, shmups and fighting games have a long history originating from the arcades, so... Okay. Well, that was the easiest mid-boss so far. Probably should have had 2 of them. With Wire Likes it's a little bit... With Wire Likes it's a little bit harder because Wire Likes are like a subgenre of a subgenre of a subgenre of maybe a subgenre by this point of a main genre. Like, when you drill further and further down into subgenres, what distinguishes each title from the rest in the category becomes more and more difficult to discern. I understand that point. That's not what I would consider. That's not what I consider to be the defining feature of Star Trek when I think about it at the top of my head. And I wouldn't exactly say humans are the most technology-advanced species in the setting, although it depends on which Star Trek series you've seen. With Star Wars, I don't have enough knowledge, sorry. I like Star Trek because of its futuristic setting that is a more idealistic take on a potential future for humanity in a more galactic setting with other species, while still not fully abandoning from the main issues that plague us nowadays. Like, every single species in Star Trek, or almost everyone, is like a reflection of humanity's strengths and weaknesses through allegory. I get what you mean. It's just, I don't know how accurate saying that humans are the most technology-advanced species in Star Trek is accurate. Maybe it worked more for Star Wars. Oh my goodness. I managed to jump over and hit the spike. Oops. But I get what you mean. I'm ribbing with you. But I will get back to the point about wire likes. It is interesting when you drill down to sub-genres. It does become different. At a certain point, if you drill down far enough, you basically end up with the situation of, oh wait, you literally are cloning a game or something. Or a game is basically a spiritual successor to a previous one. Or with the names filed off. I think I'm much preferring this stream over the morning one, as we're having actual discussions on the levels and various gaming related topics. Sorry for the rocky start with the network issues. And heck, all the levels are actually somewhat interesting to go through, and are not to, like, every level. I'm not commenting on the level so much, but every level actually has decent introductions, decent escalations, recombinations, and every single climactic section, even if it's not really polished, it's still enjoyable to go through and actually tries its best to bring back the major elements of the stage and wrap it up in a bow. which puts it already 90 to 95% ahead of most level packs and levels. Okay, I'm not carrying this, so let's do this. I'm out. Oh, he gives me the concrete shot. Oh, it took you a few months intently for this pack. I see. Let us see. On arcade. Galaga is a really funny example too, since almost every single scrolling shmup has a full range of 2D movement, while you're locked in horizontally moving in the bottom of the screen in Galaga. True. It is kind of closer to, missile defense. No, not missile defense. Actually, let me check. No, that is Galaga. Sorry. I thought there was another game like Galaga. Well, there is another game called Galaga. Was it Invaders? Yeah, Space Invaders. I was blanking on that. That's the only other quote-unquote shmup I can think of that locks you horizontally. I would love to play more Garrus-likes if the things existed. Yeah, well, yeah, you do, Tedley. That's what's surprising. Surprising in the sense not because of you, but more based off most of the level creators I play. Which is fair. Not everyone actually watches these streams, or wants to. Not everyone watches these random streams I do. Not random, I do on a regular basis, but not all the level creators take into consideration the feedback, because either A, they don't know it exists, B, they don't have the time to actually use it, or C, they're just doing this for the whole own enjoyment. And this is one of the cases where I agree with Skullman. I don't know if I consider this to be a good level pack, but at the very least, it's decent. You were talking, Jaden, you said something that Lake discussed about sci-fi settings and so on. Could you elaborate on that point? I'm interested. I don't know how it actually describe FNAF. I don't know how it actually describe FNAF's genre other than mascot horror. Like, I definitely see where you're coming from when you say tower defense. But at the same time, it feels a little bit more active than most tower defenses. But I don't really have a good retort to your statement, Jaden, because you have a point there. Like, when you really think about it, it does actually feel like a tower defense game. You do basically have makeshift lanes, and you have... The only thing is, you can't directly place quote-unquote towers. Yeah, a Centipede I think is similar. You're locked horizontally, if I recall correctly. It's been 10 years since I last played that, though. Well, I would say mascot horror. Survival horror, I guess. I'm referring to, like, the ones where you stay at the computer desk. Alright, let me take a short pause. I do want to mention, there are some interesting points here about genres, and how it's a little bit amorphous. Yeah, Centipede, Space Invaders, Galaga, you are locked horizontally to the bottom. Breakout, you're locked vertically? No, sorry, that's ping pong, sorry. Yeah, Breakout, you are locked horizontally as well. I don't remember if the original Breakout had some sort of projectile power-up where you could shoot. But Breakout is considered to be like a classic quote-unquote arcade game. Not really a shmup like the three other examples, or I guess very primordial form of shmup shooter. Zuma is considered to be an arcadey puzzle game. I would not consider that to be a tower defense game, as there are no towers or active defenses you can place down. All you have is your Toad, the balls. All you have your Toad, balls, and some power-ups you can collect. And I guess in a later game you can switch where you're firing from. So, arcade puzzle. Now, if you could more actively place down defenses, I could see it as a defense game. Anyways, back to adventure. To Stara and the asteroid Alcazar. 62 plays and a score of 26. Sleep deprivation simulator? Yeah. Ooh, Rush Marine. And I missed the keys. Joy. I have noticed that in most sci-fi series, humanity isn't the top dog in terms of technological progress. Which is fair, I can see reasons why or not. It also allows for... I can definitely see the reasons why, and there's some logical story reasons too, like, by not starting out as a quote-unquote top dog, you set up a story plot thread for humanity developing their technologies to be better, to be on par with the rest of the galaxy, allegedly. Man, who has the Astro Crush? I want to make something clear, my knowledge on shmups is very limited. I know a decent amount, okay, a mediocre amount about the arcade classics, and maybe some of the NES games, but after that, I start to blank out horribly. Especially as the genre expands and branches out into many other categories. / develops, / crosses over other genres. You say stuff like the original Gradius is much closer to what we think about shmup nowadays. If the game had a mechanics identical to Galaga, you'd think, oh, you're not thinking, oh, this is scrolling shmup. You're thinking, oh, this is like arcade games. That is a good point, actually. Like when we think Galaga, we think arcade shmup or arcade shooter. Back then, I think it was just called arcade shooter. I remember the era where there was no distinction between first-person shooters and shoot-em-ups, the way we think about it nowadays. Like, Gradius is what we call it. When you think about it, the quote-unquote modern-day shmup, Gradius is a lot closer to that ideal. Ouch. I got shocked. Oh, I'm already in the asteroid. This is the spot. Oh boy, this is the mid-boss, isn't... No, it isn't. Oh... gosh. Yeah, just jump over it. That's a better option. Thank you. Thank you again. You're being very kind now, game. I forgot about the mid-boss. Low gravity wins again. Okay, get up. Go! I could go through the middle, but that's basically a crusher. Don't fall for it. Okay, this was the easiest stage so far, surprisingly enough. Get down, please. Hello? Thank you. I got... Star Barrage or something. Mega Man posing for victory. Or you could just do a gag story similar to One Punch... Or you could just do a gag story, but with the main protagonist having the best, weaponry and technology from the start. I will say, I understand that. At the same time, you can still have many gags and drama at the same time. Like comedy and drama aren't mutually exclusive. One of my favorite TV series ever, MASH, is a dramedy, and it leaned more heavily into the drama in the second half of the series. Arguably to its benefit, or detriment, depending on your perspective. I consider it mostly to its benefit. Oh, that's wonderful, Manubi. Yeah, Doctor Who is I would consider that sci-fi as well. I'd say go get sleep, Jaden. You need it. You've been playing a game called Invader for the Game Boy Advance. Cool soundtrack, pretty tough bullet hell. The issue isn't so much the bullet patterns. The issue is that bullets have a particular color that's hard to distinguish from a lot of backgrounds. Ooh. I see it. You can also point to small screen size as a reason to hard to maneuver, but you had no problems beating the Game Gear last. So, yeah. Even on small screen sizes, you can still have shmups with quite a few bullets. Asterisk. You know, it's actually quite interesting. There's actually, from my layman's perspective, it seems like there's a quote-unquote two kinds of bullet hells. I'm saying two kinds as a very broad category here. And when I say bullet hells, I'm referring to the shmup subsection, not the roguelike bullet hells. Bullet hell shmups. There's a kind which has a lot of bullets where you have to dodge and weave through it, but there's a heavy focus on guiding the bullets away and managing stuff like that, versus the type where it's more like Toho, where the patterns are very intricate and artworks in their own right. But that's just my layman's take. The one where like there's a hailstorm of bullets that you have to mitigate, manage, delete, etc., and the more Toho kind where it's like an art piece. There's intersections between the two, yeah, but one feels like you have to be more active with dealing it. The other one's a bit more. You have to be more active with it. You have to be a bit quote unquote more passive. Like it's. I'm talking from a perspective that isn't as well versed, so. So I'm having trouble determining the proper terminology to use for this. Like there feels like a distinction, for example, between Tyrion and Lord of the Game mode versus like Toho, especially in terms of the bullet patterns. I played much more of the former than the latter. We'll get there. Okay, okay. Next up is Cheeto at the Magmatic Mine Shaft. 68 plays, score 31. After this, will be one more arm stage, then the 6 stages, and we're done. Such is the trouble of having to describe genres when you don't have as much knowledge about them. I had a similar trouble, for example, talking about racing games and all the subgenres there. Like I can tell you there's a difference. I can tell you there's a difference between simulator racers, arcade racers, and kart racers, but after that, I struggle. So this is the fire level. Okay, arcade, sim, or kart. There is more than that, but I'm layman. And I know there's definitely stuff in between. Oh my gosh. Yes, just jump over it. Good job. Sheesh. Maybe I ease up a little bit on the count bombs, at least for the first screen. After that, fair game. Wait, is that fake? Nope. I'd surely put something up there if I was a designer. Oh man, that would be hilarious. I can see why it's one of your favorite looking levels. There's sometimes a later type that has some sort of Toho-like Danmaku, as Toho-like Danmaku patterns as a surprise, which is fun. Yeah, the Toho type of bullet hell patterns, generally, from my perspective, I want to keep emphasizing from my perspective, they are more bark than bite. Oh, don't get me wrong, they can be rather difficult to dodge, sure, but their main intent is to look... Oop. Hi, doggy. Gotcha. As I was saying, the main intent of the bullet patterns in Toho-esque bullet hell shmups is more to look interesting, pretty, and to scare you. Like, they're scarier than they actually... They're less scary than they actually are, most of the time. It's like a psychological thing. Which is why when you get the actually scary to which is why when you get the actually difficult to evade patterns, that's where it gets really frightening. Well, bye, dear Joe. Which is why when you actually encounter the patterns which are truly troublesome to dodge, that's where you need to get worried. Oh, thanks. No more repeats, please. And there's also plenty of concessions too, like you mentioned, like in Dodonpachi, where there may be some advanced floral bullet hell pattern, but the bullets slow down to make it easier. If it's more like a Type 1 bullet hell shooter, there wouldn't be a slowdown. And either you'd have to deal with it by just get good and spot dodge immediately, or to give you some more active utilities to mitigate it. Whether that be a shield or... and whether it be like a shield or a bullet deletion. I haven't actually... well, I sampled a little bit of Toho 6. That was many years ago. It was too overwhelming for me. Or was it... what was Scarlet Devil again? What number was that? Was that 6 or 7? Oh shoot, I'm dead. Bye. Let me check. Yes, it was Toho 6, Embodiment of the Scarlet Devil. I played, I think, an hour or so of that many years back. I wasn't able to beat it. It was... back then I was far less skilled at video games. It was too much for me. I think I got up to boss 3? Maybe 4? I don't remember. If I were to play it now, I could probably beat it on the regular difficulty. Though I may have to use a continue, and I would definitely lose some lives. What I'm saying is I could probably beat the game, but I don't know if I'd be able to do a 1 credit clear. Or whatever it's called. I realized that I actually have the concrete shot, so I might as well use it. Well, you could have just put the... I kind of understand why you have the outside section, but I think if you just place the boss corridor right after the ascent, or make the ascent a little bit longer, it would have worked better as the final challenge. Springman? One moment. Can you just jump in? Does he want to jump in, though? I guess not. Easiest boss so far, with Springman, of course. Hello, clipping through that. One left to go. I think I know what you're referring to, Manubi. Let's see. I hopefully have enough time to beat this tonight because I'm not streaming tomorrow, so I can go for a little bit longer. So last but not least, Blue Sea at the Mountain Quarry. 55 plays, score 24. I am not going to give my thoughts on Chapter 5 right now, as A, I actually haven't fully beaten it yet, and B, it's a weekend immediately following the release. Of course not, I'm going to give people time to actually process it. And to answer someone else's question from earlier, and I think I answered it, but just to remind you, later this year I will be streaming Undertale. Neutral, well, pacifist, neutral, then true pacifist. And then early next year, maybe late this year, I will start streaming Deltarune as well. I ideally want to finish stream up to Chapter 5, up to and including Chapter 5. And when Chapter 6 comes out next year, I will stream that as it comes out. So, probably going to do Undertale, Deltarune's Chapter 1 through 4, and Undertale Yellow sometime. Like, I really actually want to do Undertale Yellow. Maybe with Joe and Jordan, but we'll see. Life has been kind of busy for us. Unfortunately. Oh, I wasn't supposed to... Oh, I picked up by accident. Ah, that's fine, I won't use it. Problem solved. I only really care about two endings. Which are neutral, followed by... Well, the two endings I really care about are pacifist plus true pacifist. Genocide can be saved for those who are watching on YouTube. And if I really want to fight Undying the Undying and Sans, there's already the Undertale boss mod and fan game. And yes, I know technically there's many more endings based off of who you, especially, there's many more neutral endings depending on who you decide, which bosses you decide to spare or not, but I won't bother. Excuse me. Second easiest mid-boss. Even without the use of the Astro Crush. Well, for true pacifists, you need to save everyone, don't you? Oh joy, they failed to execute the jump. I've mistimed it. Oh, congrats. As for other Undertale fan games, well, with how many games I already have my itinerary to be played, probably not. Like, the only other Undertale / Deltarune fan game I do want to cover would probably be Delta Traveler. So, we'll see. Maybe one other one, but again, we'll see. Like, some of the future worlds that have been proposed for Delta Traveler are... they pique my interest. Oof. Like, I'm gonna have at least 2 E-Tanks, probably. One from a previous level and one here. No, wait, I already used that one during Quick Man. Can you rephrase that, Ted Lee? What's the warning about? You said, warning, some of these fortress stages, or some of my favorite stages ever made, particularly 3 and 4. You mean they're super hard or something? I think some of the paragraph got cut off. Oh, gotcha. I thought you were gonna say that they're brutally hard and the YouTube ate half the text. Oh my goodness. Well, props for making the spike stand out a little bit. Alright, we're true. Let's go, 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 go! It's Guts, man! Oh gosh, get away from me, Guts, man. Well, that was a kind of a cakewalk. Okay, it was a pound cakewalk, whatever. Hard cake. That's all 8 defeated. One moment. Now, with the 8 masters defeated, it's story time. After defeating all the Paradox Masters, Mega Man returns to Light Labs again, and as he, Hermione, and Bastion were discussing where their energy crown could have ended up, their monitor glitches and Mega Man sees a face he thought he would never see again. It is Dr. Tedley, and he has the energy crown on his head with a tiny mysterious crystal Mega Man had beaten up during Hermione's last attack, before he broke her free of the mind control. Citizens of Monsteropolis, it is I, Dr. Tedley, and for those who thought I was dead, my death was greatly exaggerated. Sure, I was a body with a spirit. Sure, I was a spirit with my body unable to harbor it, but I was dragging along the only thing I could touch, my body. But then I found in the timeless ruins the Paradox Gem, which I placed my body in the gem and controlled it with my spirits, with an S, until my body recovered. Unfortunately, I was still trapped in the gym, even after my body fully recovered. I guess he was stuck doing workouts and no one let him out. So I enlisted the power of Hermione and Bastion, who I took control of to help me find a way to break free, but then that dastardly Mega Man showed up, and as I was trying to use the souls of Wily Max and King Cat to give myself a chance to break out, Mega Man defeated the crystal and sent it flying towards the ruins again. The crystal finally broke apart, leaving just one usable shard that is currently in my energy crown that I've once again stolen from Mega Man. I'm more powerful than ever, and with my new Paradox Palace, I'll take over the world. Prepare to welcome your new Emperor. We have to stop this. We built that darn crown, he can't even acknowledge that he stole it. That petty little thief. Mega Man sets off towards Dr. Tedley's palace, which he finds on one of the floating islands with major floating islands surrounding around it like a solar system. Floating around it like a solar system. Alright. I just love the idea that he got stuck in the gym instead of the gem. Like, he managed to escape from the gym, only to get stuck in the gym. He's forced to work out for several years. My overall thoughts on the RMs is that this is as good, if not a little bit better than, I think, was it Hermione's attack? The previous level pack I played? All stages have decent introductions, escalations, recombinations of the main mechanics, and then the climactic sections, even if they aren't always good, they're at the very least decent and try to use the main mechanics showcased in the level. In general, all the stages seem to have at least two main mechanics, or gimmicks or level elements or whatever that the developer tries their best to actually squeeze enough uses out to try to a sufficient degree. Keyword try. I wouldn't say it's good because there's a lot of messy parts, but this is still ahead of the curve of 95% of the level packs I played or have played, where they may have the mechanics but they don't utilize them enough. This one, for all the messes it has, for the messiness it has, one of the things it gets right is it tries to showcase and put its main gimmicks in the limelight and iterate on them. And it was true for all the 8 Paradox Master levels. I'm gonna take a short pause and do this. Hopefully I can beat the rest within an hour. I have returned! Let's see what the messages were. Okay, I have about an hour more, let's do it. So, time to break into Ted Lee's Neo Fortress. Flying Forest, Broncolossus, 29 plays and score of 12. I'm not gonna play Genocide on Undertale because A, I feel bad for killing all those innocent creatures and monsters, and B, it's kind of boring. Gonna grab one of each just in case. I should have just collected one E-Tank, by the way. What happened? I got stuck in the wall. So, okay, jet. Let's pretend that didn't happen. Alright, jet that Russia section. Oh no, yeah, okay, with the way the background looks, that really looks like it's a standable platform. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's an issue with you or the maker, but that looks like it should be part of the foreground. I probably could have gone over it, but I didn't want to risk it. Thanks. And off we go. Okay. So much for oh, the ceiling. Ugh. Okay, yeah, can you please change the background so it's darker? That still looks so much like it should be a foreground platform. The lag's back? I don't see any frame drops, so it's a YouTube hiccup. They're not innocent for different reasons, but they're interrelated. Like, of all those people mentioned of the group, Asgore I'd say is the least innocent. Now why is Jerry not innocent? I understand people hate him, but I don't get why. I thought that was part of the joke. Putting aside the issue with that background-foreground confusion, it's working fine. I get those are supposed to be floating islands, but with how bright they are, they really look like they should be standable. I could have been mad. Alright, this is structured to rematch is structured away from Hermione's attacks, so one by one. Fewer concrete shots, so would be your weakness. Funny as that would be, no. It's fire. I'm dead. Oh, it doesn't checkpoint there. And it's this... I would have strongly preferred a checkpoint, especially for this sort of boss fight. I'm not gonna... I don't agree with that sort of thing. Especially when you have two rematches back to back, we should have a checkpoint. Well, at least it's after the bubble section. Bubble platform section is what I'm saying. So it's not too difficult to get back here, but still, the point still stands. And it's not even a full refill per fight, so... Oh. Or if you're not gonna give me a checkpoint, at least give me a large life energy or something going into the fight. Like, this is, with the two, at least with one of the fights you're going into, you really want to have a lot of life energy for that. If you only had if you had no E-tanks, you may die repeating this section, even with the weapons, because, you know, quick man. And if you're watching Ted League, what I would suggest doing is please put a checkpoint before that boss rematch. Ah, so much for Spike Guard. Come on, Rush. Like, when you're gonna have a rematch of that, I appreciate you put the checkpoint also after that, but we're gonna have a rematch of that where there's a risk of, well, we have risk of perishing, and one of the fights is already kind of difficult enough. If you're not gonna put a checkpoint there, at least put a large weapon cap, put a large life energy or full restore. So we can go into the fight fully stocked in. I don't know what game this song originates from. Water. I mean, by this point, this is the fortress level, so you're expected to have rush yet. So I'm not going to complain about that. And ZX. It's from Zero. Okay, we're on the island now. We're getting close enough to the island. Eep. Oh, made it. We have, well, We do have weapon energy for the rush shed, so it's fine. Like, I don't know if there was a criticism from Sylveon, but I'm gonna say that the rush shed sections here are fine. And there's plenty of play, and every time you start one, you get full rush shed energy anyways, plus the jet capsule, plus you get the weapon energy along the way too. Hey, Woodman. Oh no. I wish I was told there'd be 2 phases. It's a good thing this is planned, man. So it's really easy to just mess with his pattern. I'm mostly worried about the Pippies and getting struck by one of them. Like so. Is Rush available like in 1 through 7? Rush is available like through 3 and 7. 3 to 7. Okay, that was a 1. It went on for a bit longer than I expected though. Let's see if this trend continues with Tedley 2, Formula Facility, Chemical Dragon, 32, 16. Plays and score. I'm really hoping I can beat this tonight within 30 to 45 minutes, if not, next week. Gonna grab one of these just in case. Weird. Alright, we managed to break into the fortress. Usually, that's it. Usually we actually approach the castle or fortress on foot, but this time we actually approached it from above. It's actually kind of interesting because usually we approach the fortress on the ground level, and then ascend upwards. This time we approached the fortress from above and had to fight through the aerial defenses and then descend into the door. The entrance, I mean. I find that neat. Flat. Take that, take Tentos. Oh, thank you very much. Right, you also approach it from above because it's also a little bit different because the Wily Fortress is underground. As a matter of fact, you actually encountered the Wily Fortress after the midway stage. That's where we got the infamous Mega Man screams out in horrific pain scene. Yeah, usually we get introduced to the Wily Fortress by the end game, like before the fortress levels, but there you get it midway through. Similar thing happens in World 2, I think. Or was it World 1? Well, one of the World games, you do get introduced to the fortress, and actually get to step foot in that game. I thought I was going to be safe, but of course this Take-Ten decided to respawn. I should just... You know what, I'm just going to pull out the Rush Marine. I haven't used it at all, and this is the perfect spot where it should be used. There was no point in that, I just wanted to. Oh gosh. When in doubt, crush. I love this Wily team. Alright, time for the other two rematches. Please have a checkpoint before. A little bit risky there. I guess electricity. Yeah, I thought so. He gets absolutely wrecked by his weakness. Like, because it pierces through everything, it's just, it turns the fight into a joke. Okay, yeah, this was easier than the first set of rematches. I'd swap the order. World 4. Again, one of the World games, you actually enter the Wily Fortress after you defeat the first 4 RMs. Then you enter a teleporter and are able to access the next set of 4. Classic burst, man. Oh. Okay, so the explosions don't actually harm me. It's not like the other explosive block. This looks like a job for, once again, a dog. I neglected to remember the distinction. Mega Man? Hello? World 2. Why care when you have a dog? As a matter of fact, I need to use the dog here. Now here's a rarity in a level. A spot where you're actually forced to use the Marine. Well, technically I'm not forced to, I could just use a jet, but that weapon respawner is specifically for the Marine. Ow! Pff, too slow. Not piece of cake. Hello? Not you. Pig tendos are actually becoming the hardest part of the stage. Because I can't use the best method of defeating them without accidentally potentially screwing myself over. This has been a lol Russian moment. Hi. Ow. Pff. I got a shield in my face. Does Y tower count? No. I see that face. It's a creeper, isn't it? Let's try it again, shall we? Oh, of course. It had to be the one I was really low on. Just my luck. Flash? Oh. I see it. I was trying not to use the E-Tank because I want to save it for later. Okay. Whew. I can see why it's your favorite level. I think it was better balanced than the first one. And more importantly, it doesn't have the confusing background distinguishing thing. Deadly Tree, Hypertube Tunnel, the Telespawn, 25 plays, score of 9. I'm gonna be remarking on the fortress more as a group than individually. Your favorite fortress levels are the next two. Let us see. If you want to discuss anything else other than video gaming, if you want to discuss anything else that isn't just directly related to the pack, feel free to. Make sure to climb upwards. Like, I'm kind of running low on things to talk about here. Watch out, we have a highway down here for some reason. Again, if I did have a stream tomorrow or on Sunday morning, I would have ended the stream about now. But I'm gonna keep going because I want to beat this in one go. Ow. It's big wigs. These are the transport tunnels. And I guess these are the storage trucks for transporting those materials and goods and enemies. Here's the equivalent for Chill Spike for this. Go ahead, Minubi. I think there's one Mega Man shmup I can think of that's somewhat notable. Somewhat being kind of an exaggeration and relative to this fandom. It's the one that was made by Blyka many years ago. No. I don't want to deal with you, I'm just running. Ow. Okay, yeah, this really needs to have a checkpoint before, sorry. Or, no, just put put an extra life here. I'd be happy with that, too. Punch? Could we get a punch, please? Could we get a punch? Yes. This is part of the reason why I don't use the hard knuckle that much, because stuff like this can so easily happen. And I get to... Like, I much prefer the hard knuckle from Tree Revamped, where they fixed it by having to go faster. Oh well. Yeah, my biggest criticism of the Fortress stages here is that the rematches really should have had a checkpoint before the rematch. Or give a extra life. Otherwise, it ends up making those fights a difficulty spike because they're already decently hard enough. Don't make them even harder. Like, you have an extra life here, put it down there too. I don't really care about the gender of the bosses. Especially you got enemies like this, which are not exactly trivial to deal with. Yeah, will that be on the test, Tedley? And especially in this arena, why would you want to use the hard knuckle? Like, this is an awful weakness. I'm sorry. I understand, if this was a flat arena, this would work for Gutsman, but in this sort of arena, no. This is an awful combination of weakness. Okay, I can't get that either. Joy. Alright, now going from one of the harder ones to the easiest. That was the second hardest, I'd say. Well, fire, I guess. So yeah, of the Roadmaster weakness orders, that is a bad weakness, I'd say. It just makes the fight harder, as with that Arita. And combined with the fact that you don't have a checkpoint before, the refight's miserable. Alright, let's see, the idea for the Mega Man shmup is like Battle Network fully charged. Different universe with different takes on the RMs and characters. Good idea, so it's like a different universe split, or different timeline split. Rock is an android in his futuristic world, capable of flying a ship so precise that no human being could keep up with it. Literally the Blue Bomber. Neat. Eddie completely missing the joke Sylveon's making. Mechanical aliens from outer space invade the Earth, and none of the weapons can damage them. Rock was created just as a companion by Dr. Light, but Wily, a friend of Light's working in military technologies, convinced that rock fighting would be for the betterment of the peace of the world. I get the joke, I'm not gonna elaborate either. It's probably gonna make it even more confusing for Tedley. I just find it funny that of all the things you want us to know, asking us that we might want to learn about the Masters, the top one would be gender. That would be like my 7th or 8th, really. Like, why are you asking us for permission on that, of all things? I just find it, oh, whoa. I just find that really weird. Like, this is not a ship... Now, if this was a shipping game, or shipping was important, sure. Hang on. Okay. Now, if this game involves shipping, sure, I could see that being more important. But for this one, it just... I don't know. Ow. Take that. I'll leave that question up to yourself. I'll leave that question up to Sylv. Oh, that's too far. Okay, that Joe just escaped from the level. One of the robots is named Heatman, the first to attack the city. His plasma melting through all the weapons building his pad, showing off the strength of the aliens. At this point, the Blue Bomber doesn't come equipped with anything but regular bullets, which are effective enough at taking down the enemies floating around the city in a few shots. But not so effective against the Heatman himself, who is completely immune to the bullets. Which makes it even funnier because... Which makes it funnier because... Heatman is actually the easiest, he's the weakest of the Roadmasters. Sorry, not Roadmasters. What kind of masters are they called? If at all, masters. Stop. Can we please survive the traffic jam? Thank you very much. Thanks. Excuse me, game? The charge shot was big enough so it thought it impacted from the left side. It prioritized the left side because of the anchor. Wow, that was super rude. Wait, what? What did I get destroyed by? I know, I'm doing this a very, the way I'm doing this right now is just very, primitive. Just bash my face against it until I break through. Okay. And the checkpoint was right over here. Of course it would be. I'll respond to your rest of your comments on the proposed shmup game in a moment. I just need to survive the horrific traffic that's going on here. Oh no, 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 no. Of all the enemies... Excuse me. Okay. Question is, can I get to a life pickup? Oh, wait. Yeah, sorry, no. I have to do that. Channeling my inner Jupy. Whew. Okay, let's go in reverse order a bit. In your proposed or hypothetical shmup game, they won't be called Roadmasters. Not sure what they're actually being called. They really should be called Paradox Masters, not Roadmasters. You're right. They're projections of the OG ones. There will be some sort of shenanigans in the first fight playing off of Heatman's overconfidence, since the only thing that can damage him are his own shots. I see, lure the shots back into him. Also, 5 of these Paradox Master originals aren't even from Mega Man's universe. They're from a... Oh, okay, now we have alternate universes in play, or parallel universes. And after Heatman's defeated, Wally recommends they reverse engineer Heatman's weaponry and apply that same buster tech to the bomber. With this, they end up giving the blue bomber a plasma cannon. Now it's actually capable of harming the darn aliens, and from this point you'll be able to choose the path you take. So maybe 3 stages, which unlock other stages down the line. So kind of similar to the stage select of and base, I guess. Oh yeah, they have separate conveyors. Ooh, that was fun. Okay, you may want to teleport Mega Man closer to the right. Further to the right. You know, this would have been a good place for the hard knuckle to be a weakness. You know, as opposed to Gutsman. Alright. Oh, I see it now. Yeah, you may want to teleport Mega Man further to the right, please. Yeah, the difficulty progression of the Fortress bosses is kind of weird. The first one was hard, and the second one, which was harder than the third one. Really, the hardest boss fight here was Gutsman, but that was because I was trying to use his weakness, purportedly. When I really should just use a charge shot. We are done here. These aliens will be massive and imposing, not humanoid-eyed. Okay, that's an important distinction. Thank you for knowing that. Okay. 10-4, Briar Barracks, Briar Frost, 31 play score of 19. Sorry if I'm rushing a bit here, I only have at most half an hour more to stream. If I can't beat it within then, I have to save for next week. So my apologies for not really stopping as much to comment on the happenings. I will say I'm enjoying this pack, and overall it's decent. Despite some of the issues that mainly involve weird engine quirks and not having a checkpoint before the 2 rematches midway through, I'm enjoying this. Although the difficulty progression, yeah, could use a little bit of refinement, especially with the especially with the bosses. Oh look, is this the ice level? It sure is. Ah, the snowman walkers. Nice resprite. I don't. I prefer a greater variety that isn't as, that doesn't suffer as horribly as humanity's descendants in All Tomorrows. Most of them. Not all of them. Some of them really flourished. Why is that over here? Aha, I knew it. It was just too obvious that there had to be something more to it. I'll carry that over to the next level. Thank you. May be handy for the final level. Yeah, again, if I was streaming tomorrow, Sunday, I definitely would have ended the stream before the fortress began. It would better pace it. Who else is still watching, by the way, other than Sylv and Tedley? Thank you, Manubi. Oof, that was bad. Insert my comments about the previous rematches, but these should be the last ones, I guess. Oh no. Boss who gets most destroyed by their weakness. Well, next to Burst Man, but that's for a different reason. Okay, by process elimination... No. What is it, actually? Okay. Oh no. I mean... I guess... To BH, I would switch the weaknesses of Gutsman and Ringman. This arena and Ringman's pattern works better for the Hard Knuckle. Well, Hard Knuckle will also work good for Gutsman's default pattern if the arena wasn't shaped like the way it was back then. Duly noted, that's actually in the background. That's actually on me, I wasn't paying enough attention. As for the special weapons that are collected, different aliens will give different types of weapons to choose from. Maybe Gemini would give you an option, Bomb Man would give you a bomb. Oh boy. If Gemini gave an option, I think most players would actually go for him second or third. Or maybe even first after Heatman, because options are usually super powerful in Gradius and Gradius-like games due to being able to multiply your firepower. The question is, can the option combo with other weapons? Or does it just work with the Plasma Buster only? Like, if it's just Plasma Buster only, sure, I can see it being balanced because then you can only multiply the firepower of the Buster. But if you can use that in concert with other special weapons, yeah... It's gonna be like a early state. It's probably gonna be one of the early choices for a level. Unless you decide to make Gemini Man one of the tougher alien masters. Say you got a bomb for solar, it functioned differently and you can only have bomb or solar. Fair enough. Really, I like a variety of aliens in sci-fi. I don't like prescribing should of what they should or shouldn't look like. Man. I was trying to jump off. What do I think about the choice of weapons? They're decent, but there's some choices which I would rather have other weapons for, and I wish I could reorder the weapon order. Like, maybe I wouldn't put Water Shield as one of the main options here. I would put Dust Crusher. And Hard Knuckle is easily the weakest weapon, especially for the enemies and environments you fight them in. There are a few spots where it does work out, but I'd rather just use other weapons for that. I don't really have a issue with most of the weapon choices. I have more of an issue with the way they're ordered in the menu, and this isn't like Magpul 3 where I can reorder it myself. I do agree that most sci-fi alien species do look vaguely or to completely humanoid. And I do want more variety in that front. At the same time, you don't need to go all the way to... At the same time, I don't think you need to go all the way to how most of the alien species or the sense of humanities look in All Tomorrows. That is too far for me, I'd say. I appreciate the designs, but that's not how I think most should look like. I think many sci-fi series should strive to have more different looking aliens, looking alien species, if they're not directly related to humanity, but they don't need to go that far. And many props for the sci-fi series that do go for something different. Like the Daleks, Xenomorphs, Cybertronians, giant robots. Even the experiments. The experiments with Little Stitch are an interesting example, but I will not elaborate tonight. I'm getting too tired. My brain power is diminishing every minute. Two ideas with Gemini. Either A, there's other types of power-ups you can replace it with, or B, Gemini acts like a shot type, replacing your Charge Buster. Other shot types would be like, say, Magnet. It also depends, in terms of alien species designs, it also depends on how much you want to lean into convergent or divergent evolution. But again, I'd rather not discuss this more, I'm getting too tired. Oh no. And I got 2 more fortress levels after this one too. I know what you're trying to do there, but with the way you have the white square behind him, it really looks like the sprite sheet wasn't cut properly. Sorry, it looks kind of funny to me. Oh, this is gonna suck. Or not, just keep luring the clouds away. That's actually not that bad. Wait, where's Phase 2? No, really, what happened to Phase 2 of the fight? With how relatively easier this fight is, you would have... It seems like it would scream there would be a Phase 2, but there isn't, question mark. That was weird. In that sense, it makes the Fortress boss... the Fortress bosses kind of suffer from a reverse difficulty curve. Alright, Technically 5, Trapper Tower, Speed Joe. 32, 11. I've always wondered about that, Minubi. Why is it called an option? instead of something like drone or multiplier or copybot. Well, what's the history behind that? Well, with the way the fight is, with the way that Tedley 4 for this boss is now, it is too simple. It might as well just, the way that, in fact, as a matter of fact, it might as well just qualify as a Roadmaster encounter. It's even simpler than some of the Roadmaster fights, excuse me, Paradox Master fights. Which is not what you should have, which is not what you want for a Fortress boss, especially by the end game. Oh my gosh. Maybe, I think I prefer the original version over this because now it's just too simple and even simpler than some of the Paradox Master fights. And some greatest games are called multiple. That is much more accurate to what they actually do. Their actual functionality, so I'm curious how we settled on option. Is it a mistranslation, or is it trying to directly phonetically take one of the words from Japanese? Like, there must be a history behind that word. Like, I don't know if you even call it a mistranslation. Perish. Now's not the time, up and downs. Well, that's a good way of introducing the X platforms. It is a funny name, sure. Especially in Gradius, when you already have multiple options of power-ups. Yeah, it doesn't communicate at all what it does. Like, when I first played Gradius, my first Gradius game was actually Gradius 3. When I first saw that ability, I was very confused what it actually does. I thought it was some sort of a clone weapon. Like when I played it as a much younger lad, I thought it was some sort of clone weapon. Or if you chose it, it would freeze the game and let you pick from any power-up from any tier. So imagine my surprise when that didn't happen. And then, of course, next to it is question mark. Excuse me. Oh, that was very clumsy. No, thank you. Get one. Okay, randomly there. That be true. I don't know, the way this fortress is structured, I think we could do it with just one less level, but that's just me. I'm kind of starting to forget what the earlier levels were like, and they're just blending together. One was definitely the rush jet oriented level. And where I had struggled with, 2 is when I got a little bit better. 3 was the one with the explosives, I think, and 4 was last rematch and stuff. The options are very powerful, don't get me wrong. I just wish they called it multiple more often. Yeah, another thing I could... Yeah, a gambling thing where it randomizes the weapon for you to something else. That seems like what it could potentially do. But that's different. Yeah, it is one of the best shmup power-ups of all time. Just multiply your primary weapon. And your secondary bomb option. Like, it's simple in concept, but amazing. It is actually... The way multiple slash option works is actually fairly simple. But in practice, it's very good. And the fact that you can actually choose option multiple times to just stack it, even better. Like in most other games, it only allowed to have just one at a time. So you can just multiply it by just 2 or something. But no, Gradius allows you to go up to 3 or 4, depending on the game. It's absolutely... It is, Whoops. It is absolutely, not busted, but amazing. Right, left. Again, I think in some Gradius games it's 3, others is 4. The only downside of the option is, well, other than lag in some of the weaker systems, is that, well, it's difficult to get because it requires the second to most power. You need to almost completely fill up the upgrade bar in order to get it. And in order to fully make use of its power, you need to get multiples slash options. And if you perish, well, you lose all your options, so yeah, you better get good at keeping your power-ups. So you need to be careful in playing aggressively. I mean, that's one of the dangers. That's actually one of the omnipresent dangers when you're playing Gradius. You're usually a one-hit point wonder. And if you perish, well, you're sent back to the last checkpoint, usually on default settings, and lose all your power-ups, usually. Hey Pluto. Do you hate water? Do you hate punchies? Do you hate explosives? No? Maybe I could have trapped him. Let's do it. Yes! Oh, if he falls though, he's smart enough to realize the difference. The rat. Meanwhile, he has a second phase. Where he's subbed in by Grenade Man. Bouncy ball is better option, of course. Oh, round tree! Someone's desperate. Water shield? Are we done here? Yes. One left to go. I can imagine. I never actually played I think I've seen Salamander. I never played Salamander 2. And yes, the other nice thing about the option is that it cannot be destroyed by enemies. They're completely invincible, barring two particular enemy types, which are the Option Hunter and Option Eater, which are absolutely frightening. Like, they appear in Gradius 2, 3, 4, and 5, and Gaiden, and Rebirth, and Proteus. I'm taking a short pause to relax. Give me a moment. I need to stretch my legs and arms. I'm looking up online also why they're called options. Okay, the Japanese word for them, upushan or opushan, translates to add-on or attachment. And I guess that got transliterated as option. Don't quote me on that, I'll have to investigate more. Alright, final level, Paradox Palace, Dr. Tedley, 34 play, score of 10. I did beat Proteus, and I did get back and beat Gradius 3, but in that series I haven't really played any of the other games, so take that for what you will. Hey, I want beat. This is it, final level, let's go. Last stage was arguably a bit shorter, but still. Reminder that after this, next week I'm not gonna have a level pack stream. This is again, I think I should have split this up before I entered the fortress. This is turning into a 3-hour stream. I'm happy to cover this, sure, and it's fun. Not as fun as some of the other actual fan games I played, like the X 8-bit remake, or W. It's not as fun as those things, for sure. But still, this is enjoyable in its own right. And it's never too frustrating, and outside of a few quibbles, it's not too frustrating. Like, my main criticism so far has to do with the reverse difficulty curve with the Fortress bosses, not having a checkpoint before the rematches, and some clumsiness with the design. Teleporters and their launchers. This is, I think, suitable for an intermediate skilled Mega Man Maker player. There may be a few troublesome spots which could pose a bit of trouble for them, but you have the utilities to get around it, as well as spike guards. Like, good mentions are the Concrete Shot, Jet, Coil, and for the underwater levels, Marine. I'm not gonna fully say that, Tedley, until I'm actually done. Wow, bad aim. Bad aim. Gotcha, Manubi, but yeah, those option hunters are scary because they can just eat through your power. Let's see. If you want to be a bit clever, how about this? Take only one Roadmaster from each individual game and then adapt them. Don't just group them up into the same game. Like, one from Mega Man 2, one from 3, one from 4, one from 5, etc. Like we talked about here in Gemini, how about a homing weapon? Like homing missiles. That could be, for example, Dive Man. Like when you defeat Dive Man, you get a homing missile or some sort of homing property added to your Buster. Huh? Another rematch? Portal Palace. Memories. And if you want to have a shield-based weapon, I guess you could use the Junk Shield or the Jewel Satellite. One of those would work. Are these the... Is this the mini stage rush? It's only a Tama. Oh, it's the mini boss rush. I get it now. And this actually has checkpoints between each. Go figure. Yeah, mid-boss rush. In this engine, Power Stone's powerful enough. It doesn't need the homing property. Let's see, Dive Man. Oh, sure, slide right off. Get me up, please. Thanks. Alright, it's all of you again. Goodbye. The thing you want to is base the ones you choose off utility, not off the weapons from the original games. Yeah, so let's do it that way then. Heatman is chargeable, Gemini is because option, because duplicate. Dive Man, not so much for the missile, but because homing weapon. You can also do the you can also use Magnet Man, but we already have a Mega Man Tree Master, and honestly, Dive Man's weapon's better. So, Dive Man could be the homing weapon property. What could be for Mega Man 5? Oh, hi Pumpkin. Bye Pumpkin. Looks like we're having roasted pumpkin for dinner. Punch the lobster. And fail to completely. Or Magmal Tree. That weapon set's also good. I didn't notice that squid on difference. Okay, mini boss rush has been dispatched. We got 0 gravity. Let me out, let me out. Let me up. I am regretting my decision to do this all in one stream. As much as I'm enjoying it, my commentary quality is degrading ever so much over time, and by this point I would have preferred to play with a co-op partner if I knew this was going to happen. Yes, I know sometimes during the Sage streams I go for longer than expected, but usually I have more to talk about then. Now it's just circling around the same topics over and over. For consideration of the shmup, I want to pick weapon considerations for their utility and for a distinct property to make them different. Like we got an option, we got let's say we got option, charging, we got homing. What else could it be? A rapid fire weapon? Spread weapon? We already got shield covered by something like Junkman. Heck, maybe a more offensive shield. Or why not have 2 types of shields, one more offensive, one more defensive? Yeah, Starman could give like a speed boost. Stoneman, I don't know if I'd use him as the shield. When I think of like power, I get you want to use the utility stuff, but you want to have some semblance of relation to the original weapon, I'd say. Slowly we descend upwards. Okay, we could have 2 types of shields. One more defensive, one more offensive. Like, doesn't Gradius have like multiple types of shields you can unlock, use? Like, I know there's a front-facing shield versus like a full force field. Yeah, then let's do that then. We can have a more defensive shield versus an offensive one. Heck, even have a shield that could deflect minor or moderate projectiles, but only protect the front. Like, I don't recall any Gradius shield that deflects projectiles back. That could be a neat idea. Anyways, back to the level pack. Here's Tedley, the doctor, who somehow revived himself again after getting trapped in a gym for a year or 2. Well, he revived himself, got trapped in a gym, and now is out. We gotta stop him before he gets trapped in the YMCA next time. Okay, phase 1 complete. Hey, Astro. Oh boy. Who's next? Tengu... Oh, no checkpoint in the middle either. What's your weakness? Sick dodge. I guess this? It's not really this, it's because I can triple. Okay, that's kind of BS being forced sent to the start because of instant death. I'm sorry, but if you can do that, I prefer if we didn't have instant death. Or if we can have instant death, put it in the first phase. Okay, so what's the weakness for the first and second phase? Okay, get me out. Oh, cool. That's the second one's the one I really need to know. Okay. Also, would have strongly preferred if they dropped. Okay, make sure to hold when that happens. Okay, no kidding, what is the third phase weakness? Really? This is a 3-phase boss fight. If you're gonna have it be that long with instant death potentially in the middle, like that, you should give it a weakness. Like, there are several things in the pack which I appreciate you learned about, but there are some things which feel baffling to me that still haven't been resolved even after six packs. Like stuff like this. Like, if you're gonna have a multi-phase boss fight like this, and there's instant death during one of the phases, you should at the very least give it a weakness. It says like this and it feels like it wasn't properly playtested. It'd be one thing if this was your first or second level pack, but 6th or 7th? Okay, that makes it worse. Like, this is some of the things you should have realized by your 3rd or 4th level pack, at most. It shouldn't take that long to realize that longer boss fight plus instant death hazard and no weakness is not a fun combination. Well, that's why I got my M-Tank at least. So yeah, always stay on the right side so I don't get insta-gibbed on the left, because I at least have enough time to escape on the right end. Alright, it's time. Yes! Perfect. Well, at least it was the final phase, so I don't have to worry about the fourth one, but still. And this concludes the story, but I do need to finish off with that last bit of story details. So, switching back to the text. After Mega Man defeats Dr. Tedley and shatters the Paradox Gem and the Energy Crown. Have mercy, Mega Man. No, you're not pulling a Wily on me. But then, Hermione and Bastion burst in. We want payback for everything you've done to us. But before they can, everything starts shaking. What's going on, Dr. Tedley? It's as I feared. The amount of temporal wormholes I opened because of your interference have caused a temporal anomaly, which means it's going to open a wormhole. And right on cue, a massive wormhole opens up, sucking in Mega Man, Bastion, Hermione, and Dr. Tedley into another world. When the three awaken, they find themselves completing a new area, a lush green field and a royal palace in the distance, with Tedley nowhere near to be seen. Where are we? We're in me and my brother's homeworld or home dimension. Wait, where's Dr. Tedley? And far away, Dr. Tedley is standing in the middle of a forest and he says, I'll have my revenge on a bothersome blue dweeb. And thus concludes the level pack. I will push back a little on Sylveon's point. I don't mind not checking for hit damageless runs. When you should check this to see if it's doable, reasonably so, deadless, I say, with the expected weapon set to have by that point. At the purported skill level, like, okay, I want to make something clear. If this level pack was designed or being geared towards experienced or expert Maker players, I would edge down the criticism for the final boss fight. But because this is purported to be for intermediate skill players, this final boss fight is way too difficult, especially if you don't have any E or M tanks going into it, and not helped by the last phase having instant death, with Tengu who can potentially grab you with that one attack and deposit you into the lava if you're standing on the left side of him. Not a fun combo. Also not helped by him not having a weakness, phase 3 that is. But enough of that. What do you think about the overall level pack? I think it was a decent outing, better than the previous one in most ways, though the Fortress levels where things start to get a bit... things start to fall apart. The Fortress bosses suffer from a reverse difficulty curve, barring the final one. I already complained about the final one. There really should be a checkpoint, or at the very least an extra life before the rematches in stages 1 through 4. And some general wonkiness with the roughness or level design and progression, but that was carried over from the Paradox Masters. You did improve with the story grammar, so that's really appreciated. So this had a strong showing, but the ending kind of soured my taste on this. Like, I'm not gonna say it. I'm becoming a broken record, that's all I'll say. Also, I should have done this in a separate stream. That's the last part. In any case, thank you for sharing this. It was suitably long enough and had enough meat to its bones, and I appreciate that you actually tried to have all the stages have some bite or teeth to them and use all their stage mechanics and elements to some degree and not forget about them. Alright, I'll see you all next Saturday for more Maker. Thank you very much for watching and have a nice day.